control the vertigo.
Welcome to Anthologic, the TV anthology podcast. I am your host, Mark. Anthologic is a podcast dedicated to exploring the good, the bad, and the odd of horror, science fiction, and the best of mystery suspense anthology shows and series on TV. Join me as we slip through the cracks of reality to approach the extremes of experience, where we can peruse the stories and art of a sinister fairground of strange and wonderful rides. And now we go on to the show that is the focus of this particular episode. Welcome to this episode of Anthologic with your host Mark. Today we're covering Outer Limits. This is Season 1, Episode 17. First aired on the 20th of January 1964, and this one's called Don't Open Until Doomsday. Now, I have watched all of the Outer Limits episodes, and occasionally there's one or two I just don't remember, and this is one of those. And I have to say, after watching it, I'm quite surprised because it's a pretty striking and interesting episode. It may be when I watched all these, I was a lot younger and it didn't strike me in the same way, but I understood a lot of the references in here, such as there's definitely references to like Miss Havisham and whatever happened to Baby Jane. I'll say that, but I've just realised I'm not even sure whatever happened to me was made until after. After this, so it was made just before. There you go. There's an influence. Yeah, so there's definitely influences on that. This was written by Joseph Stefano, directed by Gert Oswald, and cinematographer by Conrad Hall. It's actually produced 22nd in the series, but aired on as the 17th episode. And this one is a lot of fun. It's bonkers, and it's got no real explanation of what's going on. And I'm going to spoil it, but there you go. So it starts with a couple. We find out later it was like probably early 30s. We're getting married, or a pair of newlyweds. They get a weird box wrapped up with the label "Don't Open Until Doomsday." The bridegroom kind of opens it and has a look, but there's a weird box and there's this weird beam of light coming out of the object. Once he takes it out, and then he just zaps out of existence. Then we cut forward, I think, 35 years or something, where we see a couple who are eloping. The father does not approve, but they decide to elope. And they want to arrive at a house, but it's like this weird old derelict mansion with this weird old lady who seems very odd, and she's definitely got a touch of Betty Davis, or indeed Joan Crawford about her, actually, Mrs. Cry. And we find out as the story proceeds on, she is the bride that was left behind when this man was zapped by this box. We also find she's still got the box, and she's kind of mad. She kind of is getting people in front of the box, so they look in the box and they get out. They see this, and I have to say the alien in this is kind of interesting. It loses some of its mystique towards the end, but it's a weird multi-tentacled creature with one eye, so quite Lovecraftian. And when you look in the box, it can kind of zap you inside. So we find out that Mrs. Cry has got some sort of weird agreement with the alien, or some tacit agreement that she'll feed it more people in the hopes of getting her groom back. But she's 35 years older. She's quite an old, weird old lady with lots of strong makeup. It's that kind of look. And she kind of just says weird things like, at one point they said, "How much to stay?" And she says $35. And he goes, "What, a night?" She goes, "No, as long as you like." You can stay as long as you like, and you can have the bridal suite. It's meant to be my bridal suite and stuff like that, she's saying, and it's all of that kind of stuff. I really, really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. Eventually, so the wife looks in it and disappears. Now the husband thinks she's run out or run away or something, and he gets peeved and leaves. And actually, she does phone back at one point, and this Mrs. Cry, this weird landlady type, sort of saying, "No, she'll come back. You come back here." She's trying to lure him back, kind of thing. But we kind of find out this creature kind of finally explains itself at the end. It, as I say, it loses some of its mystique because it talks in a sort of reverb heavy voice, deep voice, masculine voice, sort of explaining she was meant to meet up with other creatures who were between them, would combine their frequencies and destroy the universe. So it feels like, I think it's described on Wikipedia as a pocket dimension. It's this little weird thing in space where the alien's caught and the people that he sucks into the box are caught. The daughter's there, but he says he will free them as long as they help him achieve his goal, which is reunite with his companions. They're all from a different universe, with the hope that they want to destroy this universe. The father of the bride turns up, also looks in the box, kind of deliberately with the machinations of Mrs. Cry, and gets sucked into the box too. And he agrees to help the alien if they let them all out. And he lets. Just then, the groom turns up, and this Mrs. Cry kind of goes, "No, she'll ruin everything." All this kind of stuff's going on, and the young bride, newlywed, I should say, reappears just in time to faint into the arms of her husband. And then the father comes back out of the box and says to the alien, first he says to his daughter, "Please come with me," and she won't. She wants to stay with her husband. Then he turns to the box and says, "I lied." And then the alien's all like, "Whoa!" And this is mad scientist stuff, really. It says, "Oh, if I can't destroy the universe, then I must unmake myself." And with that, the newlywed couple run out of the house, and it gets blown up in a kind of Rocky Horror Show fashion. Okay. Which means that Mrs. Cry, her bridegroom, and the father of the new bride all get destroyed, but the young couple seem to get away with it. And then there's a postscript where the voiceover is basically, sometimes evil needs to be in the right place at the right time, otherwise it will get defeated. And then says, and this at least delays Doomsday for one more day. Really kick-ass episode, really effective, punchy. I really enjoyed it. The lady playing Mrs. Cry, who was Miriam Hopkins, who I believe was like a film star in the 30s. Apparently a very good character actress, versatile in all sorts of roles. She played Miriam Hopkins. She played Mary Cry, and she was bonkers, frankly. So I quite enjoyed this affair bit, and I quite like the creature. Though, as I say, when we saw flashes of it and it didn't speak, it was way more mysterious and interesting and weird, because you felt you were looking into a portal in space, but in fact it was like some weird dimension. So I greatly enjoyed it. Why it turned up on the newlyweds wedding gift table and wrapped up with a message saying "Don't open till Doomsday." Who knows? That's never explained. And I kind of admire the fact they don't even try. They just go through it in this episode. I thought it was very enjoyable. A big recommend for me, this one. Don't open until Doomsday. I think it's in my top 5 of Outer Limits. So I really, really enjoyed it. And I'm perplexed why I couldn't remember it at all. But as I say, if you like a bit of Who Slew Auntie Roo or Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte or Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, you're going to like this film. This episode. Yeah. Okay, so let's wind it up there. But before I go, may I ask, is there anybody out there?
I'm not.
We now return control of your television set to you until next week at this same time, when the control voice will take you to